Hey everyone, it's Angel again, and Peanut behind me, who I was trying to get him to turn around and show everyone his handsome face, but he's being such a snob. But today I wanted to film my very first video of my Concealer Quest series, and the concealer that I'm going to be talking about is the Maybelline Fitme concealer, and the color that I have is in Sand Sable. So before I get started, I just want to talk a little bit about concealers in general, and this whole series that I'm going to be starting. I mentioned a couple times, well, I'm sure I mentioned more than a few times in my videos, that I have a love affair with concealer and I can't live without concealer, and I have an entire arsenal of concealers. I can't talk about every single one that I love and hate, because we'd be here for a really long time. So I'm just going to talk about one at a time in every Concealer Quest video. And also, when I decided to start this series, I kind of wrote down everything that is important to me when it comes to concealers, like everything that I expect from my concealer. I took this very seriously. This is, here's my notes. I wrote everything down. And so if it sounds like I am reading a little bit, it's because I am, just because I want to remember everything that I want to talk about. So I'm really demanding when it comes to concealers, no matter how much the price, just because, like I said, I can't live without it. So here are all the things that are important to me, and I think if you're watching this video, then concealer is probably an essential in your makeup kit too. So I'm pretty sure these are all the things that you look for too, but I just wrote it down. So it's about 13 things. I told you I took it very seriously. So it's 13, I think it's 12 or 13 things, I didn't count. But this is what I look for. This isn't in any, special order. So here's what I look for. Texture, blendability, buildability, the coverage, pigment, the finish, the longevity, the ability to use it with or without a primer, its compatibility with a liquid or a powder foundation, its versatility, can I use it only under my eyes or just on blemishes or both, and the price, which of course is a very important thing. And the very most important thing to me, the number one important thing to me, is the creasing. Whether or not it creases and how much, and what to do to avoid the creasing. So I'm going to talk about each and every one of those qualities in every concealer that I talk about. And like I said, today I'm just going to be talking about the Maybelline Fitme concealer. And I'm really glad that I'm doing this concealer in my very first video of this series, because I get to give it a good review. Because that is not always going to be the case. I'm probably going to slam a lot of YouTube favorites and make a lot of people mad, but like I said, I am really demanding when it comes to concealers, and I expect a lot. And I've mentioned before, I think in my January favorites, that I am on the quest. It is like one of my life's missions to find the very best perfect concealer, and I haven't found it yet, but I'm going to, and I'm going to tell you guys, when I do. So let me start talking about the Maybelline Fitme concealer. The color that I got is in Sand Sable. I paid about $5.99 for it. I've seen it anywhere between $5.99, which is, like I said, what I paid for it, and all the way up to $8.99. I think it was $7.99 at Target, but anyway, so I paid $5.99 for this, and I really wasn't expecting a whole lot from this, so I was really surprised at how many things that I liked about this concealer. So starting with the texture. The texture is very smooth and very light, and so here it is. So there it is on my hand, and here's the little one. Oh, there he is. See, do you want to go out? I think I gotta let him out. Okay, so I had to pause for a second. So here it is, and like I said, the texture is very smooth and very light. As far as blendability, it is very blendable and very easy to blend. I'm just gonna tap it, because that's usually how I do when I put it on my face. I tap it. So there it is. As far as coverage, I would say that it is a sheer to medium coverage, more on the sheer side, but because it's so buildable, you can build it up to an almost medium coverage, which was a good surprise. The finish, it's actually a really natural finish. Of course, it has a better finish if it's used with a primer, but it's not too dewy and it's not too matte. So I think on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as the finish, I would give it a 7, 8. Yeah, as far as longevity, without a primer, I wouldn't expect it to last more than about 3 hours, but with a primer, I can wear it all day. As far as using it with or without a primer, it does last a little bit longer with a primer, and it performs a lot better with a primer, but I've used it both with and without a primer, and it's actually not bad. So I've worn it with a liquid and a powder foundation, and it performs really well with both. I think with any liquid concealer, it blends a lot better with a liquid foundation, and I would say with a powder foundation it doesn't look as good, but I think that's how it is with most concealers, at least on my skin. As far as versatility, I was really surprised with how versatile this is. I mean, if you're like a concealer addict like I am, then you know that some concealers are better for under the eyes, some are better, you know, for blemishes, but usually it's difficult for me to find a concealer that that can be used for both under the eye and on blemishes. But I have to say, this concealer, as far as versatility, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give this a high 8. Actually, I give this a 9, because I've used it under my eye and on blemishes and around the redness on my nose. I even use it to cover up that sunspot, which I decided not to cover up today. But yeah, and it really performs well both under the eye and on blemishes, and that was a really great surprise, especially for $5.99. Okay, so let me talk about creasing. Creasing is a big issue for me when it comes to concealers because, you know, I told you guys I'm not 16 anymore. I live at the beach. I get a lot of sun, so I have fine lines around my eyes. I'm not embarrassed to admit that, I do. So when it comes to a concealer, it's really important that the creasing is a minimum for me, because, you know, who wants to walk around with, you know, pools of concealer in their fine lines? But as far as creasing, I was so pleasantly surprised by this concealer. The creasing is minimal with and without a primer. Without a primer, there is a little bit of creasing, but as it finishes, as it sets, I just pat it a little bit where I see it starting to crease. So I would just pat it just a little bit right before it finishes, and that should do with minimal touch-ups throughout the day. And with a primer, there is no creasing at all, at least for me, and I'm really happy about that. So as far as creasing, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give this a 9. So overall, I think this is a great concealer, and yeah, so I'm really happy to give this concealer a great review. I think this is a great concealer. I would definitely recommend it. I paid $5.99 for it, and it's a great concealer. I do not regret my purchase at all. So that's the end of my video, and I'm really happy that I finally got to do this concealer quest video, and I hope you guys enjoy them. Like I said, I have not found the perfect concealer, but when I do, I will let you guys know about it. So thanks a lot for watching. Take care of yourself, and I will see you again soon. Bye!